G'day guys, this is FCT. I've now been using and working out with the TicWatch E3 for a bit over a month. So let's find out how it fared. As mentioned in my unboxing video, the TicWatch E3 is a WearOS smartwatch from Mobvoi, which came out in June of 2021, and is the cheaper sibling of the TicWatch Pro 3, which I'll be going over in another video. So be sure to subscribe for that one. Starting out with what you're going to interact with the most. This has a 1.3 inch LCD display covered by tempered glass. Unfortunately, missing out on the OLED display and any Corning branded glass. Right away, it's rather noticeable that this thing has quite a bezel and doesn't make any attempt to hide it. But that's intentional with the price of admission here. Now the screen gets reasonably bright to fight off the dreaded outdoors, but doesn't have an ambient light sensor, so has to be adjusted manually. Being a lazy creature, this caused me to just stick to a brightness setting that was bright enough for all occasions, which unfortunately affected the battery life in a noticeable way. Tapping and swiping through the interface was slick and smooth, owing mostly to the relatively recent Snapdragon 4100, paired with 1GB of RAM and 8GB of storage. This combination is the bare minimum we should see for WearOS, and it makes it sail along with silky sleekness. It's great to see this minimum met on a smartwatch at this price though, seeing it recently on special for as low as $200, as it shames other brands into achieving that much more outside of being fashion pieces. At any price though, a device does need to make it through the day, and that's covered here. With my normal use, I got through about a day and a half before needing a charge. 2 if you really want to stretch it, and turn it off overnight. Now, this was with around 70% screen brightness, the always-on display turned off, the basic power-saving screen turned off, and also getting quite a few notifications and a workout each day. Speaking of workouts, this is a good time to report how tracking worked out. With the Mobvoi challenge, mentioned in the unboxing. This required 18 HIIT workouts in 3 weeks of over 20 minutes with an average heart rate of over 130 beats a minute. The challenge was completed and you can see each day's result on my Twitter, linked in the description. As promised, Cora did help a little. As a workout companion, I did find this device reasonable. There's plenty of activities to try and track, and the new high impact interval training feature does help by keeping tabs on the time or rep intervals and give some idea for things to do. Mostly burpees. Now the setting itself was a little annoying as it wouldn't tell you what round you were up to. I can't be the only one who really wants to count down how many more painful rounds are left of the torture. I also disliked that when tapping on the screen in this mode, it skips the current round, which seems like a poor design choice as it happened accidentally way too easily in all my typical flailing. Even though there were lots of different exercises to track, my time LARPing as a fitness person didn't really see the point of using many. Freestyle heart rate tracking seemed fine for most users. Here you can see the difference between that and the skating option for tracking a game. If you wanted to do some GPS run tracking though, that would change things. It was fun seeing how the old ticker went over a long period though. The challenge itself, I rather disliked, as I found that didn't track my heart rate accurately with many exercises with too much arm movement or when sweating too much. Common downside to light-based trackers though. This led to workouts being less structured though, as I would have to change on the fly to a different exercise that would track better once I saw my own heart rate dipping, despite my actual heart rate going crazy. The way that different apps tracked was also a bit weird, because you could do a manual heart rate check and get 110, all ready for your workout, and then start activity tracking and it sits chugging along at 80 for the first 30 seconds. In the end, it was simply simpler to just game the system and run around the block, as this caused it to track the heart rate much better with less wrist movement and less sweat as you're outside. Probably not the idea of the challenge though. Overall, not an enjoyable challenge as it introduced extra stress when the tracking didn't work out, but the idea was cool on a whole. Now the other side of the tracking coin is sleep monitoring, I did try it out for a few nights, each knocking about 25% of the battery off overnight. Tracking your sleep stages, oxygen saturation, and heart rate are mildly interesting, and seeing it trend over time is cool, but I just don't find the value in the whole process, with the only advice it offers being things like, try to keep your sleep schedule regular. Duh. So I'd rather just give it a rest overnight, or give it a top up. On the subject of top-ups, the supplied charger is fine. It's a bit of a pain as it's not one where you can just drop it on, needing 2 hands to attach and remove the magnetic cable. I miss the days of my old Moto 360, where the cradle made it simple to drop on and off. Needing less intention to charge it was such a breeze. Durability wise, the E3 has been pretty solid, making it through my daily life without any scuffs or scratches so far, and sitting under my hockey pads without issue, tracking away. The band material was good enough, not causing itching with my skin, resistant to sweat, and being stretchy enough that you can tighten it right up for better heart rate contact. It's not a fashionable leather option if that's what you like, but it can be swapped out, being compatible with 20mm bands. The accompanying Android app is a bit average. Seemingly quite typical of Chinese companies lately, but it does at least let you check on your sleep and workouts easily enough. The Mobvoi suite of apps on the watch are decent, adding more functionality than what Google Fit offers, and including some extra goodies like Zen and breathing mode, if you're into breathing and all of that. I did run into a weird software issue once where the device turned off and refused to function for a few hours. When I came back, the battery was nearly empty, so that was a bit odd, and I'll have to keep an eye on it, hoping it's a one-off. The elephant coin in the room is, of course, WearOS 3, which launched with the recent Samsung Watch 4. While Mobvoi and Google both say that the E3 will get it sometime in late 2022, we don't buy products based on future promises. As it is, WearOS 2 is pretty decent. The issue is that some apps like the improved Google Maps and YouTube Music are WearOS 3 exclusive. And some developers like Strava have ceased support for their WearOS 2 apps entirely and are now only working on WearOS 3. With another year of WearOS 2 before this might get WearOS 3, it's a long time for uncertainty, trying to predict how the app situation will evolve. This isn't exclusively a Mobvoi issue either, as it's the exact same issue the brand new Fossil Gen 6 range of smartwatches are facing. With no WearOS 3 for another year, Google has not gotten their grand revival off to a good start. But as for the here and now, the TicWatch E3 is probably the best WearOS device in the budget range. Its Big Brother Pro 3 does sometimes run close in price though, so that would be a better buy. It just depends on what kind of specials are running and if the bigger frame of the Pro fits your wrists. If you are already invested in the Samsung ecosystem, I would definitely look into their new Watch 4 as well. Otherwise, I feel the E3 runs solid hardware and mostly cuts the right corners. I'd recommend it to anyone who wants to dip their toes into the WearOS ecosystem. You might be surprised, and like me, find yourself tripping further down that rabbit hole. So what do you think of the future of WearOS? Let me know in the comments. Chuck us a like if I did alright, and subscribe for more tech each week. Catch us in the next.